If you're thinking about going back on your social channels after what might feel like a crazy, wild hiatus, and you're wondering if now's the right time to get content creation back onto your radar, then this is the perfect episode for you. And if you're feeling stuck on where to start, I've got a super juicy offer for you as well. So let's do this. Hey, I'm Steph, and I'm obsessed with all things travel, marketing, branding, and helping you stand out from the crowd. In just under 2 years, I went from being a home-based travel agent with zero clue how to make it work in the digital world to launching an international ranking travel podcast and creating an online course to help travel agents in lead generation. Here's one thing I know for sure. There has never in the history of the world been a better time to create the travel business you've always wanted. All you need is an actionable strategy and someone to show you the way. Picture this. We're going to spend the next hour of our time together at the Swim Up Pool Bar, where over a cocktail, we deep dive into travel-related topics, mixed with a little classroom training. This show is dedicated to encouraging you to step outside of your comfort zone and into your travel business. I'll show you how I did it and how you can too. Hit subscribe now and let's get into it. If you're a travel agent wanting to stand out in the digital world but you struggle with consistency, tech isn't your jam and you have no idea where to start, join my free masterclass where I talk about exactly this. Head to stephaniemyers.academy/masterclass. You're listening to Unplug in Paradise, the podcast. Yay, hello, and welcome back to Unplug in Paradise. I'm Steph, and I'm feeling like today's topic is well overdue, and it's been a while since I've been on the podcast. I've had so many exciting things cooking behind the scenes, which is definitely going to be something massive over the next few months that you guys will be able to benefit from. And I needed some time and space to make sure that I was really creating things that were purposeful for myself and that's things that I was aligned with, but also something that you guys are going to really need for your businesses moving forward into the next cool, big, exciting year that is coming around so quickly. I don't know about you, but it feels like the months and the weeks are just flying by at the moment, which is pretty good when things are busy. But I feel like this chat is going to bring up so many important things for us agents that we're experiencing at the moment. So I dare say that we can all appreciate that as things are moving so quickly around us, that concept of travel is actually so damn hot on everyone's lips right now. It's so nice to see everyone experiencing the world again. They're in either Europe or they're in America or they're in Bali, like they are literally all everywhere. All the people I follow on Instagram are literally overseas at the moment, which is amazing. It's so good. But at the same time, us travel agents and small business owners, we really need to work out how much is too much and whether you're honoring yourself through your busy days whilst you're working with clients or maybe you're out and about. And maybe you're spending way too many hours at your computer researching and doing all the incredible things that you do. But what I'm thinking of is, how are you and your energy right now? And I know that energy is so precious. So, my hope for you is that you're doing something extra to look after you and ultimately looking after your business as a whole. Which leads me to the topic of today's episode about content creation and why it's vital to your travel business, even if it's all systems go, and even more important now when you're firing along on all cylinders. So, what are we waiting for? Let's jump in. Before we begin today's episode, would you please join me while we recognise the generations of the local Aboriginal people of the Bundjalung Nation who have lived in and derived their physical and spiritual needs from the forests, rivers, lakes, and streams of our beautiful valley over thousands of years as traditional owners and custodians of these lands. Today's episode has been inspired by all the incredible travel agents who have rolled up their sleeves despite all the things that are going on in their personal and professional lives. Whether you're still committed to another job whilst you're servicing your clients all on the same clock, this episode is for you. So it's designed to help you commit to the next level of your travel business and get to that little sweet spot where you can consider returning back to the industry more permanently. But first, we are going to cover the exact steps that I've taken in my own business in the past, and most recently when it comes to taking off your travel admin hat, crossing over into that creative state where ideas start flickering and juices start flowing. It is definitely a process. And I'm not going to lie, we can't always be in that creative state all the time. It's just not something that we can sustain normally as human beings. And if we were in that creative state all the time, we would never get any work done. But it's something that I do quite often that helps me get back on track when I've had a bit of a funk or I've had a lot of stuff, happening personally and it's kind of interfered with work life balance. Sometimes that just doesn't exist. So, something that helps get me back into that creative zone is logging off of social media altogether, whether that's for a morning or an afternoon, and just picking up a travel brochure or a travel magazine. They come as they're everywhere. uh, are you a real travel agent if you don't have an office full of travel brochures? I think not. Uh, but I find that just sitting down quietly and reading the words, in an article or something like that, creating a little bit of a montage in my mind of how I would imagine it to look in real life if I've never been there before, what it would feel like to be there, what clothes I'm wearing, and so on, just to really plant myself there and feel it for a moment. So I suppose you could call it mindfulness. Or, there's probably some spiritual word to call it, or just becoming grounded in that moment. So, whilst you're reading that article in that travel magazine, you are there in that moment, feeling it, thinking of it, and imagining it. And for us travel agents, I really don't think that we could ever do this job without having a really good imagination. So, doing something as easy as visualizing yourself or your clients in destinations you see in a travel magazine probably won't be very difficult for you at all. But what I found is the actual hardest thing for me is when I've got a million tabs open, and I'm sure you'll be able to relate to this one. I'm not alone here. Is actually creating the time and space to relax and sink into that realm of creativity and allowing yourself to do it. It's hard, but it's also like that saying, when they say you always get your best ideas when you're in the shower or when you're dropping off to sleep. And it makes total sense, right? So if you're in the middle of something and you're lacking imagination or creativity, why don't you try slowing yourself down right in the middle of the day and see what thoughts or creative juices kind of drop in on you. You might actually surprise yourself, as I have done recently. But I do want to add to this chat a little bit later, and we'll cover it all in much more depth. But what I wanted to speak to you today is the importance of creating content when things are busy. And I know there's so many of my travel agent pals out there that literally are on the verge of burnout. And my friends, I'm thinking of you. Please take the time to make some time for yourself, a little part of the day, whether it's in the morning, midday, or afternoon. please do something for you, whether it's a walk or a snack or a break or a Netflix binge or something. Do something for you. Take your mind off work. We do this job not for the money. We do it because we love the fruits of our labor, and we also love what bonuses as well that we do get, and also the satisfaction of our clients and the experiences we get to have, as well as being part of their memories and things like that. So, yes, there are numerous contributing factors and belief systems that we all put in place for not being able to show up for yourself or your business on social media platforms. So, we're going to go through and name them, as there tends to be quite a few big ones that tend to pop up quite commonly. And they're all just your pesky roadblocks. And I do see them come up a lot for agents. So, we're just going to name them. Number one, being the most obvious one, is I don't have the time. So, what we can do to make time inside of our busy work lives, what would make our lives easier by one, reserving time for ourselves in the day to create content exactly for who it is that you are serving. You've got to make time to write up the copy for your captions, making sure it's all engaging and connects to the right audience. Of course, we want to make sure we're speaking to the right person. We want to add the call to action with a clear path of what you want your audience to do next. Another one is I don't know what I'm doing, so I tend to avoid doing it altogether. And I might as well just sit over here and pretend I don't need social media platforms in my business. Yep. And I think we've all been there in one phase of our business or another. I know that it kind of resonates for me, especially probably this year, actually, 2022, when this is being recorded. I have definitely felt this phase more than other years. So, what if you're in the early stages? What if you're just coming back to the industry, or you're just having a second to reflect and understand that, yes, social media needs to be a part of your wheelhouse? How do you bring life back into your social media platforms after not having posted anything since maybe mid 2020? When you were still hopeful that travel was coming back, and trying to keep the dream alive by posting pretty pictures of places and destinations that we couldn't go to. And, to create a little bit of FOMO, everyone loves FOMO, except the whole world was having FOMO. And it probably, admittedly, was borderline making everyone even more depressed. But we won't keep driving a wedge onto that one. That one is probably something that we can all relate to. And yeah, I definitely know that it was for me as well. And thirdly, suck at content creation. I suck at it, and I have no idea what I'm doing or where to start. And you might find yourself staring at that blinking cursor, or you're in Canva ready to create something that's absolutely killer. But yeah, you're sitting there really not having a clue what you're going to put out there. Or you get an idea and it's awesome, but then you start to second guess yourself. And instead of following through, you decide to put it off altogether for another day when you have time, when you have energy, and you have effort to put into it, which make these roadblocks all pretty relatable. Am I right? But what I know to be true, and I found this with the podcast and my own social channels, is that anything to do with content creation is long game, meaning it's not something you're going to see instant gratification for. It's something that's a slow burn. And rather than looking at it as a total time suck, I want you to reframe it and think of it as building your online library of content for your potential dreamy client who's out there looking for you and don't know you exist yet. Even on the days when you're feeling, a little bit unsure, you're posting something, thinking that posting something is better than posting nothing, please post as long as you have some kind of thought process behind it, and you're posting with the intention of onboarding whoever is seeing your content into your database. Because at the end of the day, we want money in the bank. We want people in our database who are aligned with us and our values and our passions. That's what we want. That's the end goal. Which brings me to something that I shared recently on another podcast episode. So, this was on episode number 46 with my business advisor, Clive. If you haven't already tuned in, head over and take a listen. We were discussing the importance of showing up online and for the relevance of what we're speaking to today. And I wanted to give you a really tangible example for my first-hand experience because I think it's important. And for those in the travel industry who have known me over the last 15 years, all know that I have been in travel and I grew up in the Byron Shire, which means Byron is, of course, such a bustling hot spot on the east coast of Australia. Byron has loads of competition when it comes to the cafe scene. And you're probably nodding. Yes, Steph, I understand what you're saying. I can see it in my mind. I'm in Byron Bay right now. And for example, if I was heading to Byron now or meeting up with some friends in town, I'd most likely jump onto social media. And this is something that I have done. I jump on social media and I find which one has the best coffee and food photos. And they say that food and coffee photos are overrated, but they are so not. Everyone loves a bit of food porn. And if you're on Instagram or Facebook, if your business is on Instagram or Facebook rather, and it didn't have a photo of the food or a photo of the menu that, maybe hasn't been updated in the last month or something, I never went to that cafe. If that cafe was really slack on their Instagram grids, I wouldn't go there because I would think, oh well, they're not keeping up with their social medias. How are they going to provide me with, a good breakfast? And I think in this example, because there are just so many cafes to choose from, you'd be happy, more than happy, to pay absorbent Byron Bay prices for the sake that they took enough pride and thought in their creations to share them onto their socials. So, what this experience tells me that as a consumer, I am naturally drawn to businesses who have their social lights on, so to speak. I know that I'm really drawn to profiles that have a real person behind it. So whether that's, a photo of people or a photo of someone instead of a logo, I want to see people's faces. I want to know what their names are. And I want to know that if I was to ever, have a question to ask, that if I DM'd that account in that profile, I'd be getting that person on the other end. And in a world where we place so much value on what we perceive on our social media platforms, like, if someone else is going there, it must be a good place to visit, add it to your bucket list type situation. You really need to think about the way that you want to be perceived online. Like how are you perceived in your marketplace? How are you perceived in the travel industry? What is it that you offer in compared to a lot of other people that are doing the same thing? And like the Byron Bay cafes, none of them struggle for business because they are, like I said, in one of the most busiest tourist towns in Australia with a really heavy and vibrant cafe culture. But they still show up on socials because there are thousands of other people out there that are just like me who are scrolling to find the best option. And could be as simple as an updated menu from last week or a friendly barista smiley making coffee on their grid that helps a person. Or it could be something like a picture showcasing their version of eggs Benny with salmon and a cozy corner nook vibes that wins me over every time. So if you feel like you've been slacking off on socials, believe me, it's definitely happens and you definitely need to honor the seasons that are happening in your life, like outside of business. We all not in our business all the time. I think we need to recognize that. We are family members and parents, some of us, and other people aren't, but that's okay. They've got other things that they fill their life with as well. However, if you feel like you've been absent, think of what it would be like for your ideal client who is on the other end of that phone or that computer. looking at their social media? Are they like me? Are they trying to find someone to serve me breakfast through Instagram by making it literally so easy for me to make that purchasing decision? Because in reality, I already knew that I was going to order eggs and Benny with salmon across the road from what I was looking at on social media before I even arrived at that cafe to take a seat. So, you definitely want to have your potential clients thinking and feeling exactly like this before doing business with you. So, it's something to think about when you're posting content. Like, give them a reason to feel like they've already bought from you before they've even had the chance to work with you. They may have experienced your social media content, or whether you have a core content channel like a blog or a YouTube channel, a podcast, or a killer newsletter. These are all really important touch points with your clients to experience what it would be like to work with you before they've even made that conscious decision to actually do that. So, when you're creating content, that's building the know, like, and trust factor. It's really important that you already know that people are on social media to connect and socialize. It's been a huge part of our life, especially during the pandemic. It's been our only lifeline when it comes to interacting with people. And in a sad sense, that's what people rely on to get their social fix. So they'll also be wanting to look for the right travel advisor because we all look at, Instagram like the new yellow pages. But the things that they want to know is this person the right person for me? Does this person have the right expert knowledge and the right advice that I need to create my family's holiday? Has this person helped people just like me previously? Can I envision myself being their client? What credibility and authority does this person have to help me with my travel arrangements? Already, you have a starting point of the types of content that you can start to produce right from the outset without diving into the meaty parts of a strategic content plan. So, how do we begin to create content that connects you with your audience? A quick exercise that you can try is, and it's a bit of a visualization tool, is that you can picture yourself in the clouds. So, wherever you're sitting right now, whether you're in the car or you are at home or you're out on a walk, just picture yourself in the clouds, away from all the noise, the chaos, and making sure that you're staying grounded in this very moment. When you're feeling still and your mind has stopped racing, this is the time to start asking yourself some questions, which will help gain the clarity you need to uproot yourself. And when you're feeling a little bit stuck for content ideas and you're kind of wondering, okay, so what is it that I need to be sharing online? So, question number one, what is it that you could talk about all day that sets your soul on fire? Number two, what is it about that thing that you absolutely love? Number three, looking back at yourself on the ground, because you're in the clouds, remember, all the way down there, what sets you apart from the sea of travel advisors, the other people that are in your space? Number four, can I really stand out in the industry and be known for what it is that I'm most passionate about? Number five, do I have the tools and strategy to make this work? And if not, where can I go to make this really, really work for me? And number six, can I commit to this long term or am I going to do it for a couple of weeks and stop? Be honest with yourself though, and then ask yourself why. Why will I commit to this? What do I want to get out of doing this? And if you thought, no, I can't commit to this, I'm highly likely to just start and then stop soon after. Still ask yourself why, and ask yourself why you won't be able to commit to this, because it could be as simple as not knowing what to do or how to create a sustainable social media strategy, or it could just be, that you are actually really time poor and maybe you're afraid. You don't really know where to go to from here. You haven't engaged online for a while. So, what you'll often find is the most juiciest golden nuggets that offer the most rewarding solutions when you do take the chance to dig a little deeper into why you do or choose not to do the thing. I know it feels uncomfortable and it kind of feels like you're digging around in the dirt with a stick, trying to find your why, or trying to find the meaning of life or something. But ultimately, what you're trying to do is peel back the layers of the conditioning that you've put on yourself as a busy travel agent. Travel agents are so busy. Like, I mean, we can do 10 things at once. Like, we're the best. But as a busy travel agent, whether we've got our own business or we're working for a brick and mortar store, you can't visualize what having a strategic content plan actually looks like or what it could do for you and your business, which is the number one reason behind why I created the travel industry exclusive, brand new, and totally epic low cost digital 3-part workshop and template series, My Social Suitcase, which is now live. And the link will be in the show notes for you to check out as well. Because we know, we know better than anyone, the social media world can be such a tough one to navigate. And even though you have the best intentions when it comes to, making time to show up, it's always the last thing on your to do list. But what if I told you that there is actually a way that you can show up consistently on social media, post engaging content, and welcome new clients into your database, which ultimately is our end goal of people who will be busting to work with you? Because there is a way. It's just not the same as what it used to be. So, My Social Suitcase is my exact step by step strategy that allows you to post engaging content on social media to grow your business in 7 days or less with a done for you system. It allows you to generate qualified leads and onboard them into your travel business, ready to turn them into loyal, loving clients. Use your own style of branding, assets to showcase your experience, high level knowledge, and why you are the expert. And you get to build a strong travel community and digital online presence all at the same time, which probably sounds a little bit too good to be true. Well, I can assure you it is not. I know because it's the exact same process that I've implemented into my own business and I absolutely love it. And now I'm unzipping it all, I'm throwing it all out there in the open, all my tricks and sharing all of my templates so you can do the exact same thing as me. So, to recap on today's episode, we went through the biggest roadblocks travel agents face when it comes to content creation and showing up online. We spoke about the importance of creating content when it's busy and things are wild, and how vital it is to sustain future growth way beyond the busy seasons, and how we can slow into a mindfulness exercise where we can ask ourselves questions whenever we're feeling stuck, uninspired, and unmotivated to connect and grow your business online. And I totally spilt the beans on our exciting new, brand new social media suitcase 3-part workshop, which is a totally rad. And we totally spilt the beans on our exciting brand new social media 3-part workshop where I get to teach you how to post strategic content on social media and grow your business in 7 days or less with a complete done for you system designed exclusively for busy travel agent owners. So be sure to stay tuned to find out how you can get your hands on all of this and more in the show notes. A big thank you to you for tuning in today's episode. If you're wanting to download an online version of today's show notes, you can head over to travelbystephanie.com.au/50 to find out all about why you shouldn't forget about content creation when it's all systems go and what to do if you're feeling stuck. There is also going to be a direct link to my social suitcase where you can create an epic social media content strategy packed with ready to go templates that do all of the heavy lifting for you so that you can grow your travel business and onboard brand new clients in just 7 days. If you're enjoying the podcast, I would love to hear from you. So make sure you DM me over on Instagram and please consider subscribing to Unplug in Paradise on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you have your podcasting platforms. And if you are feeling extra generous, please consider leaving me a 5-star rating and review. Thanks again, and until next time, I will see you soon. Take care of yourselves. See ya. Bye.